talking a little bit about accessibility. Accessibility in a medical facility is very critical for people who have disabilities. Many disabilities can hinder people's access to medical centers and prohibit them from getting medical care that they need. There are a few tips that we can give you to help make it easier in a medical center to be more accessible for people with disabilities. This is not an all-encompassing list, but there are a few things, very simple things that we can do to make it easier. One way that we can make it easier is through use of a relay service. A relay service makes it possible for people who have a disability such as deaf or hard of hearing communicate with medical staff here in a medical facility. They use a third party that's able to communicate with the medical staff here in the center and also communicate with the person who is deaf or hard of hearing. This person is an in-between that can communicate with both parties and make appointments or communicate about very important topics. At first, when this phone call comes into a medical facility, it can be very confusing, and people oftentimes confuse it with a telemarketer. It is not a telemarketer, and please don't hang up. Listen very carefully to the instructions that the relay has for you, and they will be able to walk you through it. If you have any questions at any point during the conversation, please ask, and the relay service will help you through this process. Next, Stephanie will be able to give you some tips specifically that she has encountered through her experiences.
Hi, I'm Stephanie, and as someone who's deaf, I thought I would share some tips and tricks on how to better communicate with individuals who have hearing disabilities. When you come into a waiting room, if there's a glass partition, open as wide as it possibly can. Stand up when speaking to the person so you're reading at their eye level. Do not look down at your computer screen when talking to them. A lot of people who are hearing impaired rely on lip reading. If you find that they cannot communicate at all, a simple pen and paper can also help them. When calling the person's name from the waiting room, be sure to speak loud and clearly, and if that person does not respond, come over and maybe tap them on the shoulder or let them know it's their turn. Do not snap your fingers or stomp your feet, as some people find that quite offensive. After your name is called and you're walking back to the room, if you do choose to speak to the person on the way back to the room, be sure you are looking at them when communicating. Do not walk down the hallway and keep talking with the person is behind you. They may not hear you. Once you get into the room, if it involves you leaving the room while the person needs to undress or change clothes, anything like that, if you knock on the door, most people are not going to be able to hear you if they're hearing impaired, and they will not hear you say, "Can I come in?" or any those sorts of things. My suggestion is tell the physician or the nurse that you will open the door slightly when you are ready for them to enter the room, and in that way it involves someone coming in the room when at the wrong time. If you're taking the individual's vitals or blood pressure or temperature, be sure to verbalize the result when you're looking directly at them. In addition, if you use an ear thermometer, an individual with a hearing aid or both hearing aids have something in their ear, politely ask them to remove it. Most patients are familiar with the procedure and will remove them on their own. Do not just skip taking their temperature because you do not want to ask them to take out their hearing aid or hearing device. Again, verbalize the results with them while you're looking at them and they can read your lip. Do not turn your back to them when examining them and continue to speak. Unless there is a need to talk to them while you are examining them, be sure to go over at the end what you discussed with them in case they may have missed it. I prefer my physicians to discuss with me at the end of the appointment versus trying to talk while examining me, as I rely on lip reading. Some individuals have better hearing on one side of their head than the other. If you are a very good hearer on your left side, ask the doctor to primarily speak to you on that side. I relied on my hearing in my right ear for quite some time, and so I always had everyone on my right side. In communicating with an individual for follow-up appointments or verbalizing test results or scheduling next appointment, I have found that email is a very good form of communication. I realized with HIPAA and all that medical information cannot be shared, but simply alerting the person that via email that they need to call the office, they could find someone that they're comfortable with to help them communicate and call the office. If your office has a procedure for allowing individuals to sign a piece of paper for having their medical records shared with their significant other or another family member, offer them that opportunity to do so. So therefore, critical communication that needs to be communicated via telephone reaches the intended target.